Hi everyone. Here in this series, we are discussing about disease and climate change, divided into five sessions. In first session, Dr. Induki Gopi given the introduction to climate change and human health. Today, I am here to discuss with you on climate change and infectious diseases. What are they and how both of them interact, leading to adverse effects. I am Dr. Dahi Suleiman presenting this session along with Dr. Intike Gopi and Jeshdas. Uh, Infectious disease is one of the major topic we are talking about in this session. So let's look into it more in detail. They are the diseases caused by pathogenic microorganisms like bacteria, viruses, parasites or fungi which can be spread directly or indirectly from one person to another. Many of the most common infectious diseases, and particularly those transmitted by insects, are highly sensitive to climate variation. There are three major essential components of infectious disease, which are 1. Host. Host is nothing but human, and the second one is pathogen. This is nothing but the causative agent we just talked about, microorganisms like bacteria, virus, etc. And the third is a suitable environment. When these three interacts, it leads to infectious disease. These three components known as epidemiological triad of infectious disease in epidemiology. Let's see climate change. Climate change is one of the major factors in affecting physical environment. The impact of climate change on pathogens can be direct through influencing the survival, reproduction, and life cycle of pathogens, or indirect through influencing the habitat, environment, or competitors of pathogens. Climate change it is nothing but it refers to a long-term shift in weather condition and pattern of extreme weather events. Humans' vulnerability to the potential health impacts by climate change is evident in literature. Now, let's see what is the role of climate change in developing infectious disease. Climate variation plays an important role in shaping the patterns of human and other host activities and behaviors such as seasonal occupation, migration, winter-summer lifestyles, physical exercises. These in turn can significantly influence the patterns of disease transmission. Climate change can harm human immunity and susceptibility to disease, thereby affecting disease transmission. Let's see what the history says. What the major infectious disease occurred in human history so far. In 14th century, plague, also known as Black Death, killed 50 million people in Europe only. Cholera started to report in 19th century. In early years of cholera outbreak, death due to cholera was 21,000 to almost 1.5 lakh. Spanish flu outbreak happened in 1980, which killed around 50 million people worldwide. In 2003 SARS outbreak, 774 people died. Last H1N1 outbreak happened in 2009 and H1N1 outbreak killed almost 6 lakh people in different countries. From 2012 September onwards, MERS disease, Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, killed around 858 people. 2016 Ebola outbreak in West Africa region affected by many people and 11,310 people died in the outbreak. 2015 Zika virus outbreak affected by 30,000 people. 2018 Nipah outbreak in Kerala killed 17 people with a case fatality rate of almost 90%. Case fatality rate is nothing but the percentage of people died due to this specific disease. Here it is Nipah. Now, current pandemic with COVID-19 taken 45,693 lives across the globe till 2nd April 2020 and affected by about 9 lakh people worldwide and affected in 206 countries. Appropriate climate and weather conditions are necessary for the survival, reproduction, distribution, and transmission of disease pathogens, vectors, and hosts. Therefore, changes in climate or weather conditions may impact infectious disease through affecting the pathogen, vector, host, and their living environment. Climate change include alterations in one or more climate variables, including temperature, precipitation, wind, and humidity. The changes may impact the survival, reproduction, or distribution of pathogens and hosts, as well as the availability and need of their transmission environment. Abundant literature addresses the factorial and potential impact of climate change on many types of infectious disease, including vector-borne, waterborne, airborne, and foodborne diseases. So let's see influence of changes in climate variables on three aspects of diseases. Three aspects of disease: pathogen, host, and transmission. So the first major climate change is nothing but temperature. Temperature may affect disease through impacting the life cycle of pathogens. First, a pathogen needs a certain temperature range to survive and develop. Second, rising temperature can influence the reproduction and extrinsic incubation period of pathogens. Third, extended period of hot weather can rise the average temperature of water bodies and food environment, which may provide an agreeable environment for microorganism reproduction cycles and algal blooms. Lastly, rising temperature may limit the proliferation of pathogen through favoring its competitors. Now, the second major climate change is rainfall. It plays an important role in the development of waterborne disease pathogens. Rainy season is related to the increase of fecal pathogens as heavy rain may stir up sediments in water, leading to the accumulation of fecal microorganisms. Now, the third major climate change is humidity change, which impact the pathogen of infectious diseases. The pathogens of airborne disease, such as influenza, tend to be responsive to humidity condition. For example, absolute humidity and temperature were found to affect influenza virus transmission and survival. Sunshine is one more important climate variable that may affect the pathogens of infectious disease. For example, sunshine hours and temperature act synergistically during cholera periods to create a favorable condition for the multiplication of Vibrio cholerae in aquatic environment. The last one is wind is a key factor affecting the pathogens of airborne diseases. Literature suggested a positive correlation between dust particle accumulation or attachment and virus survival or transporting. Let's see how any extreme weather conditions, and how they affect the disease pattern. A lot of studies have examined the impact of extreme weather event and meteorological hazards and human infectious disease. So, if the extreme weather conditions like El Nino will lead to vector-borne disease and waterborne disease. Another event, La Nina, will lead to vector-borne, also waterborne disease. Quasi-biennial oscillation will cause vector-borne disease. And heat waves will be leading to vector-borne, also airborne diseases. Drought will lead to water and vector-borne disease, and flood also will lead to water and vector-borne disease. In hurricane, they lead to vector-borne diseases, but in cyclone, vector-borne, water, and foodborne diseases. Cyclone will be leading to these three types of diseases. However, our knowledge varies greatly across the type of different events. When it coupled with uncertainty in predicting the spatial and temporal scopes of an extreme weather events, limit our ability to predict the health impact of infectious disease. Uh, Environmental changes and infectious disease, like due to the environmental changes, it could be it could be because of many activities. How the pathway of effect leading to any diseases, we will be talking about that here. Now, the construction of dams, canals, and irrigation leads to snail host habitat, increased snail host habitat, human contact, leading to schistosomiasis, and increased breeding site for mosquitoes, leading to malaria, increased larval contact due to moist soil, leading to helminthiasis, reduced black fly breeding, and reduced disease, leading to river blindness. Coming to the agricultural intensification, crop insecticides and increased vector resistance cause malaria, and also increased rodent abundance and contacts will lead to Venezuelan hemorrhagic fever. When it comes to urbanization and urban crowding, reduced sanitation and poor hygiene also increased water contamination causes cholera, and the dengue is caused due to water collecting trash and increased Aedes aegypti mosquito breeding sites. Increased proximity, sandfly vectors causing cutaneous leishmaniasis. So these are some different kinds of diseases. We are just talking about the pathway. When it comes to the deforestation and new habitation, increased breeding sites and vectors immigration of susceptible people will lead to malaria. Increased contact, breeding of vectors leads to oropouch. Increased contact with sandfly vectors will lead to visceral leishmaniasis. Reforestation will have a increase in tick host and outdoor exposure, causing Lyme disease. And when it comes to ocean warming, increased toxic algal blooms can cause red tide. Elevated precipitation will occur in increased pools for mosquito breeding. That definitely will lead to Rift Valley fever, and increased rodent food habitat abundance will lead to hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. However, it is essential to recognize that social, economic, and political factors play significant role in predicting the change in a risk for infectious disease caused by climate change and to face the infectious disease outbreaks. The inadequate financial and medical resources coupled with less effective communication and public health education in developing countries limit these societies' ability to prepare for and respond to climate change induced health issues. Society's vulnerability to climate change induced health risk of infectious diseases is further related to its existing public health system and also the infrastructure. This all factors affect the transmission and control of infectious disease. Vulnerability to the change in the risk for infectious disease may be reduced with proper adaptation measures. Adaptation can be effective in addressing climate change induced challenges. For example, better drainage, building seawall, reforestation is among the recommended measures to minimize the impact of climate change. Let's look into the challenges for dealing with this infectious disease, which specifically caused due to climate change. What are the challenges we have? An early warning system is not always practical considering our limited knowledge to some aspects of climate change, especially some extreme weather events and meteorological hazards. And the next challenge is limited knowledge about the nature of pathogens and lack of regional specific projection of climate change and induced health implications. The fourth challenge we identified as lack of ability and resources to effectively respond. Uh, let's see what can be done, like what are the strategies to reduce the impact of climate change. And the occurrence of infectious diseases includes reduce vulnerability through adopting adaptation measures, develop early warning systems about climate change and diseases, developing the protocol for addressing these issues, public health awareness campaigning, and giving awarenesses to the stakeholders, etc. And the resources sharing and relocation. And the very important point is international, national, local level cooperations. We all, as a human, can play a significant role and active role by adopting proactive adaptation measures in order to control and alleviate the negative health impact of climate change and make Earth livable for future generation also. So that's my session. In the coming next session, we'll be discussing other aspects of climate changes and diseases. Thank you.